Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines: Opposition Patriotic Front accuse ACCUSE of decampaigning President HH. World Bank finance support to Zambia dependent on IMF program, reveals Dr. MUSOKOTWANE. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the
She has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from ZAMBIA. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. ZAMBIA, your digital lifestyle partner.
And now the midday news in detail. A livestock farmer operating from Lusaka's Comesa market has commended government for lifting the ban on the movement of pigs and its products. In an interview with Camnet News, Gabriel Piri notes that the recent ban made life difficult to cope with for most pig farmers. Meanwhile, Small Livestock Association of Zambia chairperson Costin Muya said government should invest in the complete eradication of African swine flu. On the 5th of May 2022, Livestock Minister Makozo Chikote said government lifted the ban on the movement of pigs and pork products in the country.
5th May 2022, government lifted the ban imposed on the movement of pigs, pork and pork products in the country. The action that follows the successful control of African swine fever, which broke out on the 18th of February 2022 in Lusaka. Minister in charge of livestock, Makozo Chikote, stated that measures have been put in place to prevent African swine fever. This move has excited pig farmers. Camnet TV caught up with one, Gabriel Piri, who had this to say. He explains how difficult it was coping with life during the ban. Meanwhile, Small Livestock Association of Zambia chairperson has appealed to government to invest in the eradication of African swine fever.
And we are asking the government to make sure that the vet officers, they should not sit in the offices, they should go to the field to make sure that each farm, there is, you know what, it's starting from the farms, the outbreaks. When there's an outbreak, they don't tell the more special of the farms because the fear is maybe they can go and slaughter them. So that they should go there themselves to check each and every farm so that they make sure there's no diseases in the farms surrounding themselves, so that disease cannot affect us again.
African swine fever virus is a large double-stranded DNA virus. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has accused the Anti-Corruption Commission of embarrassing and decampaigning the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, looking at the manner they are prosecuting opposition political parties.
Embattled Kawishi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo has been released from the prison cell of Lusaka's Kamwala remand after spending a night. Mr. Lusambo was initially expected to be released on Thursday following the decision by the Lusaka's Magistrate Court to grant him a 20,000 kwacha cash bail with 2 working sureties. However, yesterday, the Anti-Corruption Commission objected to his bail on ground that they needed to verify his sureties. PF Matero, Member of Parliament Maus Sampa, and his Chama South counterpart, Davison Mungandu. The Anti-Corruption Commission communicated with Mr. Lusambo's lawyers that they do not know the sureties and rejected the letters of introduction, saying they needed to accurately verify with the National Assembly. Mino, speaking after Mr. Lusambo's release, PF Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has alleged that the Anti-Corruption Commission is doing a good job at embarrassing the head of state.
So we are glad and happy that our comrade has finally been released. It's very unfortunate that the ACC are doing a fantastic job to embarrass and decampaign President Hakainde Hichilema. The kind of abuse and persecution that the Honorable Boma Lusambo has been subjected to is very unfortunate. The court yesterday granted him bail. We had honorable members who, of course, are known as honorable members of parliament, of course, for Chairman South, Honorable Shakafusa for Mandeva, and Honorable Mosampa for Matero. But yesterday we were told the ACC didn't know these colleagues as members of parliament, and therefore they needed to undertake whatever they called, or what they called, the verification process. All meant to just victimize Honorable Lusambo.
Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Future Community Foundation, a youth-led development initiative, says small businesses in Zambia should consider creating links with similar small businesses in other African countries in order to exchange ideas. In an interview, organization project coordinator Clinton Gando says many small businesses that have failed to survive in the past have not failed due to the lack of funds, but due to inadequate skills to keep their businesses going.
Zambia is expected to see a high number of small businesses coming up following the call for the forming of cooperatives in order for this to be empowered using the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). Apart from keeping the economy thriving, small businesses also help in creating employment opportunities for citizens. While creating businesses is a welcome move, keeping them alive is more important. A youth-led development initiative has called on businesses to acquire technical knowledge to ensure that their businesses are not short-lived. In an interview, the Future Foundation project coordinator Mr. Clinton Gando says keeping open links with small businesses in other African countries is also key for the survival of these businesses, as they'll be able to exchange ideas.
We can use digital skills, because if we connect with markets which are in South Africa, we connect with our colleagues in Rwanda, our colleagues in Congo, with the digital marketing skills, we'll be able to thrive as we are going ahead. So we just need to think outside the box, to be positive minded.
Mr. Gando knows that with the availability of funds from CDF, there is need to make an assessment of which businesses can survive in the Zambian scenario.
So there is now an issue of CDF which is in place. A lot of people, they have a lot of motivation to say we'll apply for funds, and we tried also, we came up with our very initiative to say let's find out why do businesses fail. Regarding of maybe receiving funds from international donors, receiving funds from the government, but we are still finding to say the business are failing. So internally, business are failing because of, if we ask the people themselves, they'll say we don't have money, but technically that's not the cause of the business failure. It's because of lack of skills.
Other stakeholders have been calling for annual self-assessment of these businesses to allow for long-term survival. Zipporah Mchala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, Finance Minister Dr. Stumbeko MUSOKOTWANE says the World Bank has committed to provide more financial support to Zambia on condition that the country gets on an International Monetary Fund (IMF) program. Speaking when he addressed the media Friday on the post-spring meetings event, Dr. MUSOKOTWANE says getting on an IMF program will not just allow Zambia to get more financial support from the World Bank but induce further concessional fundings from the IMF.
A delegation of Zambian officials comprising the Finance Minister Dr. Stumbeko MUSOKOTWANE, Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Danny Kadialia, and Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa recently attended the spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank in Washington, D.C. of the United States of America. The meeting was meant to discuss issues of global concern such as the world economic outlook, poverty reduction, and sustainable economic and social development. And Finance Minister Dr. MUSOKOTWANE Friday met the media in Lusaka to update them on the outcomes of the meeting. The minister says the World Bank has agreed to support Zambia with more financing, but that on conditions that the country gets on the IMF program.
The World Bank is providing support, and part of that support will come now, but part of it is conditional upon Zambia getting to a program with the International Monetary Fund. Hence why it is very important that we get to this formal program with the IMF.
The minister has justified why it is necessary for the Zambian government to borrow from the World Bank and the IMF despite the country being over-indebted.
World Bank money, the interest rate, roughly about 0.5%, and is paid over a long period of time, sometimes as long as 30 years. Okay? So it makes sense, it makes economic sense to get this cheap and long-term money as you sort out other issues of the economy.
And when asked why the conditionalities of the IMF program have been kept a secret from the Zambian people, the minister assured that the conditionalities are not meant to punish the people of Zambia.
I think those who tend to put fear and say when the IMF program comes, then you'll be thrown out of jobs, things will go up. Those are people maybe who are talking about the experiences from the past, but as of now, this is a very much transformed IMF.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa has justified why the conditionalities of the IMF have not yet been made available to the Zambian people.
That the conditionalities that you want are the conditionalities that we gave ourselves in the budget. The minister announced those conditions. And the only reason we have not shared the program, the staff level agreement, is because we are looking at updating the macros as it is going to the board. Because if we share it, it means it is that program that we need to take.
And Mr. Nkulukusa says the World Bank under the IDA loans may give Zambia up to $564 million United States dollars and an additional $275 million under the IDA 19.
We now have mobilized and will be able to get the resources of about $564 million. This was the allocation under IDA 19. It's about 100 of each was already committed, and the 500 was not committed because of the challenges we had on the debt situation.
And Dr. MUSOKOTWANE has since appealed to all stakeholders to make their 2023 budget submissions to the Ministry of Finance, especially on tax proposals. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Opposition Patriotic Front accuses ACCUSE of decampaigning President HH. World Bank financial support to Zambia dependent on IMF program, reveals Dr. MUSOKOTWANE. Those were the headlines. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.